Hello Year 2, Mr. Mallon here, and welcome back for Term 4 of Year 2, where we'll be starting our new topic, and I'll talk a bit more about that a bit later. First of all, I hope you all had a great half term. I hope you had a good break, managed to get some rest, relax, do some stuff that you enjoyed doing. I hope you've enjoyed the sunshine that we've got as well. Let's hope it stays around for quite a while. Enjoy the warm weather. So you're here today for guided reading. So we're going to do some guided reading, and this week all of our guided reading is going to be about traditional tales, stories like Red Riding Hood, Jack and the Beanstalk, Beauty and the Beast. But these versions of the stories have a little bit of a twist. So we're going to be looking at these new versions and comparing them to the old versions that we already know. And I'm going to start today with Little Red Riding Hood. So I'm going to start showing you the story. I'm going to read the story to you, and then we're going to have a go at the task sheet, which should be underneath this video. So you can do the task sheet online if you want to open it up on your computer or tablet, or if you want to, you can print it out and do it on paper instead. It's entirely up to you. So get ready, sit back and relax, and we'll start the story, and we'll stop it throughout the story to have a go at answering some of those questions together. Here we go. Hope you enjoy it.
Okay, so here's the story. It's called Honestly, Red Riding Hood Was Rotten. So it's a story of Little Red Riding Hood as told by the wolf. So there are going to be some differences from the regular story. So let's have a look and see how it's different.
Chomp chomp. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just finishing my lunch. My name's Wolf. Big Bad Wolf. You may have heard the story of Little Red Riding Hood about a girl and her granny. Seems everyone has. My tale is different. Did I say tale? I meant tail.
It's a bit strange. What did he mean by that? Let's have a look at the first question on the sheet. What do you notice about the words tail and tail? They're both adjectives, they're both describing words. They rhyme, which means they end with the same sound, or they have alliteration, they start with the same sound. So pause the video and tick your answer. Are tail and tail both adjectives? Do they rhyme, or do they have alliteration? Okay, hopefully you've given that a go. Hopefully you've got your box ticked. Are they adjectives, tail and tail? No, they're not describing words, are they? Do they rhyme? Do they end in the same sound? Yes, they do. They both end with an ale sound. Do they have alliteration? Tail and tail. They both start with a t sound. So yes, they do have alliteration. Let's carry on with the story.
Once upon a time, I ran out of food completely. The cupboards were bare, the freezer too, and I'd eaten every last vegetable and fruit in the garden. Every one. Other wolves might have lunched on little forest critters, chipmunks, bunnies, squirrels, but I'm a vegetarian. That's right, I don't eat meat. Well, I try not to. I love apples. Honeycrisp, Pink Lady, Golden Delicious, any kind really, but sadly it was a long time until apple harvest. I hadn't eaten in weeks. My stomach growled and howled. It moaned and groaned. It even roared. Then my nose took over. I took a whiff. What was it? A girl. I took a whiff. What was it? Cake butter. In this forest? I had to investigate.
Okay, let's take a look at question 2. Tick the 3 things that the wolf smelled in the forest. Cake, butter, apples, or a girl. So take a look at the page and see if you can find 3 things. Which 3 things did the wolf smell? And then tick them and then hit play when you're ready. Okay, so hopefully you found those 3 things. Let's go back to our sheet then to question 2. And we'll see which boxes we can tick. Did he smell cake? Yes, he did smell cake, so we can tick cake. Did he smell butter? Yes, he did. Did he smell apples? Let's take a look. Well, it says he loves apples, but it doesn't say that he smelt apples, so no, we can't tick that one. It doesn't say that he smelt apples. A girl. Did he smell a girl? Yes, he did. Okay, let's have a look. Go back to the story. We'll carry on with the story and see what happens next.
And there she was, Little Red Riding Hood. She looked as plump and juicy as a big sweet apple.
Uh-oh. He likes apples, doesn't he?
Little Red waved her cape. Isn't it pretty? She said. Yeah, I said. Aren't I pretty? She said. Was she admiring herself in that puddle? With this cape, she said, I'm even prettier than usual. Boy, someone sure was full of herself. My stomach growled.
She's a bit full of herself, isn't she? She keeps going on about how pretty she is. I suppose she is pretty, but she doesn't have to keep going on about it. Oh, it's not looking good for Little Red Riding Hood, especially if she's looking like an apple. Because you know what Wolf likes to eat? He likes to eat apples, doesn't he? See what happens next.
Little Red twirled a strand of hair. Mother says the cape looks grand with my skin. My skin shines like pearls. Or the meat of a ripe apple, I thought, licking my chops. Remember, I've not eaten in weeks. Time to chomp. But then Little Red said, I can't wait until Granny sees how pretty I am today. I'm bringing her cake and butter from my mother. My stomach howled. 2 meals, I thought. Granny for breakfast, Little Red for lunch, and cake and butter for dessert. Where does Granny live, I asked. Little Red pointed. Down there in the clearing, the brown house. I knew that house, and I had a plan. Let's play a game, I said. Little Red smiled. I'm awesome at games. I bet you are, I said. You take this path and I'll take that path, and let's see who arrives at Granny's first. I will, she said. I'm the prettiest and the fastest. I bet you are, I said, and my stomach moaned before it groaned. I ran. No one knows the forest like I do. I chose the shorter path.
Oh, crafty Wolf. He's definitely going to get there first.
I took a whiff. What was it? Apple air freshener? Tap, tap. I knocked on the door. Who's there? Called out a voice. Who's there? Called out a voice. Your granddaughter, I squeaked. I brought you cake and butter for Mother. Door's open, Granny said. Granny tugged at her nightcap. Green, she said. Isn't it pretty? Pretty like a Granny Smith apple, I thought. Aren't I pretty? Granny said. You must have heard the saying, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Well, it's true. My stomach roared. What's that? What's that noise? Granny asked. Chomp, chomp. I had to eat her. She was no meal, but she was a good starter. I was still hungry. Tap, tap. Little Red knocked on the door. Who's there? I called out, crawling into Granny's bed. Your granddaughter, Little Red said. I brought you cake and butter for Mother. Door's open, I said. Little Red walked in and caught a glimpse of herself in the mirror. Isn't my cape pretty, Granny? She said. Aren't I pretty?
Okay, let's have a look at question 3. Tick the adjectives that describe Red Riding Hood. Was she proud, pretty, hungry, and fast? So we need to choose 3 of those adjectives that best describe her. So pause the video, then hit play when you're ready. Well, she was definitely proud because she was always going on about how pretty she was. She was definitely pretty. Was she hungry? No, she wasn't hungry. But she moved through that forest quickly, so she was definitely fast. Okay, let's carry on with the story. I clenched my teeth. Granny, Little Red said, what deep dark eyes I have. I said, the colour of apple seeds. Granny, she said, what perfect ears I have. Granny, she said, what pretty red lips I have. I said, red delicious. Granny, she said, what lovely skin I have. Uh-oh. Chomp, chomp, I ate her up. What can I say? Things look different when you're hungry. She was no food to your crisping apple. In fact, to be honest, she was a bit rotten. But she was better than nothing. Plus, I got dessert. That was definitely a different take on Red Riding Hood that I'm used to. It was interesting seeing it from the wolf's point of view. So Red Riding Hood was a bit full of herself, wasn't she? She was a bit big-headed. She was always saying how good she was. Which I don't remember her being like that in the original story. And Granny seemed a bit rude as well. I don't remember Wolf being a vegetarian in the original story. I think they must have added that into this one. But obviously he was so desperate for food and so hungry that he ate Red Riding Hood just because she looked like an apple. I wonder what would happen if he had a bunch of apples. I wonder if he'd choose the apples instead of Red Riding Hood. Sounds like he really likes apples. Okay, so let's go back to the sheet and we'll have a look at the next 2 questions and we'll give them a go. Let's have a look at question 4. Tick 2 differences between this story and Little Red Riding Hood. So the wolf wants to eat them. Red Riding Hood is quite big-headed. She's always saying how good she is. And the wolf loves apples. So there are 2 differences from the original story and this one. Pause the video, choose 2 of them to tick, then hit play when you're ready. Okay, wonder which ones you chose. I don't think the wolf wanted to eat. I think the wolf wanted to eat them in both stories, so it won't tick that. Red Riding Hood was quite big-headed in this story, but she wasn't in the original one, so it can tick that. And the wolf loves apples. He loves apples in this story, but he doesn't love them in the original story, so we tick that one as well. Question 5. Did you like the story? Why? So what did you think of the story? Did you like it? Or did you not like it, and why? I have to admit, I did like the story, so I'm going to write down what I did like the story. I'm going to explain why. I'm going to write something that I liked about it. So yes, because it was fun. Seeing the differences from the original story. So I liked seeing how it was different from the original story. I thought that was very clever. So was there something that you liked about it, or maybe there was something that you didn't like about it? So write that in the box. I'm looking forward to seeing what you thought. Well done today, Year 2. We'll be looking at a different twist on a traditional tale tomorrow. Until then, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll talk to you very, very soon. Bye for now.